We are back, and I just finished seeing The Fabelmans. I went to a matinee and absolutely just adored this film. Spielberg, of course, knocked this out of the park. This was a kind of telling of his story, and it's just wow. It was amazing. It's got a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, 90% on Fandango, 84% Metacritic, and it's well deserved. I'll have to say the entire cast was fantastic. They really went the extra mile, but it's a Spielberg film, to pick the perfect people for every single part. Michelle Williams was, I mean, this is probably one of the best roles I think she's ever had, although she's done great work throughout the years. Wow, her performance in this, unbelievable. Paul Dano, I would rather have Paul Dano continue to do films like this than Riddler, and I get it. Doesn't want to be in a Batman film? But when he did like the Beach Boys thing, and he really, his talent is almost immeasurable as an actor. He's just so fantastic. Seth Rogen was so good in this, and I love to see Seth really stretch himself from what he normally does. And he was so good in this role. Judd Hirsch, wow. Judd Hirsch, no spoilers on the film, but Judd Hirsch was in the film for a kind of a short period of time. But I would say his performance in this film deserves an Oscar nomination for a Best Supporting Actor. He just crushed this part. Unbelievable. Chloe East was, I mean, it was just one after another. Chloe East was so good as this one character that Gabriel LaBelle, who played Sammy Fabelman, Sam, Chloe East played Monica Sherwood, and they were like the high school kind of sweetheart thing where they kind of had I mean, you couldn't take your eyes off of Chloe East on the screen. You just, the smile, the period hair from the 60s, just everything. She was so extremely talented. Sam Reckner, who played Chad, was just so good. His performance was fantastic. And I'm trying to see who else. David Lynch is in the film, in a fantastic scene. And I remember I was in my wife's sitting next to me in the theater, and as soon as this scene came up, because I've followed Spielberg his entire life and his career, to see this scene play out, and I've seen Spielberg talk about this story in interviews over the years, and when he talked about meeting John Ford for the first time, and he learned the greatest lesson from John Ford. So as soon as this scene started to play out, because I didn't know who, when Greg Grunberg played a guy who was working for CBS and was like the creator of Hogan's Heroes, and brought this young guy, Sam Fabelman, who is basically Spielberg, and he brought him in to see. He said, "I'm going to bring you in to see the greatest director in cinema history." And he sits around, and then anyway, David Lynch walks in, but he looks just like John Ford, and he got the eye patch and the hat and everything. I mean, it's just fantastic. And he tells this. So I'm next to my wife's next to me, and I go, I wonder if he's going to talk about the horizon. And my wife didn't know what I was talking about, and sure enough, and that's it. I'm not going to give anything else away, but it was such a fantastic scene, to see the trials and tribulations of this family deal with divorce and all the stuff that comes with it, and how do you encourage, you've got a father that, like most fathers, want their kids to go to college and supports their hobbies, but really wants them to follow in their footsteps and maybe go into computer sciences or something that's more tangible than the high risk of the film industry, and to watch all these relationships evolve. And the beautiful score was John Williams, of course. Oh, you know, uh, as much as we can get of John Williams as possible. And I mean, I just can't brag on this film enough. It was very emotional. It hit a lot of beats for me personally. When I looked at my life as I was sitting there, I actually teared up in several moments of the film while I was watching the movie. I just started to, just my wife looked, why are you crying? And I'm just like, it's just, oh, and it basically talked about escapism, which is what the cinema is, which is what movies are all about, or television. It's like, life is hard. And that's kind of the moral of the story, is like, life is hard, but we create stories to have emotional connections to let us forget about life for 2 hours or 3 hours, or if it's an Avatar movie, almost four, or whatever. It's like we tell stories because life can be crushing. And there were scenes where the children were trying to deal with divorce, and but Sam had edited together this film and said, while everybody was emotional and upset, the siblings, he said, will you just watch this one movie with me that I made? And when they watch it, their dispositions change on their face, because they're getting immersed and forgetting about what's just happened with their mother and father. And that is cinema. So I give this movie A plus plus plus. The set direction, the cinematography was fantastic. The set decorating, capturing the periods from 1952 on, was just, it's not like this isn't something Spielberg hasn't had his hand in before, all these different decades. So, he's pulling the best talented people to recreate these things. And you really felt like you were in those moments in 60, 62 or, 52, or, as the film progressed. And it ended on such a beautiful note. I'm blown away by this movie. If, I know everyone's out there with the Black Adam and, Wakanda Forever and all these big spectacle films, which is fine and dandy. There's always a good place for those. But you have got to take a moment and go see The Fabelmans and be immersed in a beautiful story told by one of the greatest directors of all time. And it's his story. Wink, wink. And I just love this movie. Absolutely love this movie. What did you guys think of The Fabelmans? Has anyone out there seen it yet? Let's talk about it in the comment section, and we'll see you on the next one.